This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Right, all right. There he is, locked and loaded and ready to go. The man that feared the Brooklyn Nets when they had Durant and Kyrie. The man that was panicking at 1-4. And now they're 7-4. Are you relaxed now? Are you relaxed?
God, don't aggregate this the wrong way, people, but let's look at the winning streak, and let's look at the Washingtons and the Memphises and the Charlottes. It's a nice
business. They're taking care of business.
I understand.
They lose those stinking games at times.
So, again, I need a signature win. This upcoming trip, even tonight against Brooklyn, they're playing better, but a couple against Chicago, New York, game in New York there, game in Cleveland, then I'll feel a little better. But you know what? You're right. No one at the end of the year when they look at the final record says, well, but 6 of these were against bad teams and 5 of these were near losses. So I get that. You take care of business. Most people from a national perspective. But Big O, matter of fact, I'm going to jump you into something I'm sure you want to talk about anyway. So they are 7-4 and they are in good shape. And yet what do we wake up to? Zach LaVine. And he might come to the Heat and they might do something. And here's my problem. In about, from when I'm talking to you right now, about 4 hours, I'm going to be in the Heat locker room. Tyler Hero will be in that Heat locker room. Poor guy. He has done everything he possibly can to show his value to this team, and yet here he is all over again. He's the name that's being mentioned at The Athletic and Sports Illustrated and other places that he should trade for Zach LaVine. So I want to be on record here. I would not do that deal. And I think this is something I've spoken to Orlando Alzugaray on our Acura Pembroke Pines reports. We went through the names. We said Lillard, sure. We said Drew Holiday, maybe. Both of us said Bradley Beal, no. One-dimensional scorer who has never won in this league, we're concerned about.
Kind of soft.
Zach LaVine makes $20 million more a year than Tyler Hero. I don't see it, What say you?
No, not even close. He can't shoot like Tyler. So why? I'm in a shooting league. No, so now I'm going to lower my shooting percentage again. I have enough 2-point shooters on this team and not good enough 3-point shooters. No. I'm not getting rid of to me, the Heat are not involved in this. This is just people throwing shit out there and try. It doesn't make, so you're telling me the Heat is saying to themselves, which they could be because they are this good, we can make him much more efficient.
I think they believe that about any player. Yes, I think they believe that about any player. But Big O, you know what? You've spoken over the years about luxury tax and the Arisons and spending monies, but I think you and I would both agree, in a salary cap luxury tax world, the big dollars matter, and you better get the big dollars right. Because if you don't get the big dollars right, it all goes to crap. If you have that bad contract. Fortunately for them right now, the Duncan Robinson contract, not a bad contract.
Actually, I was going to tell you that I told Anthony this earlier in the week. I said it's now because it's Goran Dragic all over again. Oh my God, they're paying Goran Dragic. Oh, 2 years later, hey, the Goran Dragic contract is right in line.
Market value.
A little bit of a bargain, and guess what? The Duncan contract is right in line, or maybe even a bit of a bargain now. Now, in fact, the Duncan Robinson contract now is easily tradable.
Well, but more than that, without Max Strus, you need Duncan. So
I know, but what I'm saying is it's no longer a burden.
Albatross. It's no longer an albatross.
You're getting what you're getting what you're paying for. And if you feel like, there's a star available and you got to throw stuff in, that contract will be accepted by anybody at this point. And that's the good. Hey, I'll top that. Okay. Last 4 games. Here we go. He has 21, 24, 26, and 30. Bam Adebayo, very, small sample size, but he, over the last week and a half, is kind of playing like the franchise guy. Like he is imposing his offensive will a little bit more, and I really like that. Now, I need to see it over a couple of months because he never does that. But if he starts doing this, I'm starting to see a player that is not deferring me as much. he is being more aggressive offensively, and I like that.
It was interesting. I was talking to Dave Hyde this morning saying we should do a column or a piece on Bam. And he asked me, what do you think of Bam? And I said, Bam finally is adding the offensive component to the defensive greatness he had. And then I told him, Orlando Alzugaray continues to call him a super role player. And I think he is moving out of that because this offense can be sustained. Here's the deal. So many people look at his middies, his mid-range shot, his bad shots in today's NBA. But like Eric Spoelstra says, there's no bad high percentage shot.
Right.
Just because most people can twist in the lane and take a 9-footer and make it 80% of the time, it's not a good shot for them. But for Bam, who can do that, it is a good shot. And he's showing that. And again, we're at this very interesting intersection now, Big O, and I don't have an answer. Bam is doing this right now with Tyler Hero out. Can this team get to a point, we talk about big threes, where Jimmy, Tyler, and Bam can all get it going at the same time? So many people said the run to the finals came when Tyler went out, when Bam stepped up, and when Jimmy really stepped up.
Yeah.
Can it work? You know, it works. 2 of the 3 have worked well. I think you would agree all the time. Tyler works well with Bam. Bam works well with Jimmy. Jimmy can work well with Tyler to a degree. But the 3 of them together, we need to see that before we can say, okay, whatever it takes for Jimmy, these other guys on the new contracts, we're going to make it work. If you believe these 3 can work together in lockstep, which we haven't fully seen yet, then you take the Zach LaVine stuff and you throw it aside. If you don't believe they can work together, then you say we still have to twist and tinker a little bit more and tweak this thing.
Well, the counter I would have to that, where I think it can work and why, you have the perfect superstar. Because Jimmy will happily defer and allow Bam and Tyler to carry the offensive load, and he'll help defensively and facilitating and being the leader that he is, and presence and all that stuff that he brings to the table. To me, it can work because you have the superstar that does not, I have to have my 30. I have to have my 30. Jimmy will be fine if these 2 guys are carrying the load offensively and they're winning. That's all Jimmy gives a shit about. So in the end, I think it can work. Now, we've had all these injuries and inconsistencies, whether Jimmy's out or whether Tyler's out. Bam never misses. But we haven't had really where they stayed healthy, all 3 of them, for an extended period of time, so we can actually find out if they can do it. And now the way things are, I don't want to get ahead of myself because then I get excited and then Bam lets me down again. But if this is Bam again, and then you bring Tyler back, that's where Jimmy can say, okay, now I can save myself and I can use the youngins, let them run the horsepower. I can cruise control. I can, control it. And then in the playoffs, then I can be the guy that turns it on when you need it and do all the other things. So I think they are situated for it to actually work. We just need to see it for an extended period of time to see if it does work.
And you have to see it together, because look at the game in Charlotte. When they needed to close, who closed? Jimmy Butler closed, and closed well. I know he missed a couple of free throws, but he did the daggers when needed. But that's because Tyler wasn't out there also. Would Jimmy have deferred in that situation, maybe to lesser shots and not been the bulldog? So we do need to see all 3 of them together playing at a high level, because Big O, I've got to tell you this. This is something that he might do as well as anyone. I just posted a story at sunsentinel.com about it. They really have lined up the supporting pieces this year. Whether it's Duncan, whether it's Jaime Jaquez, whether it's Haywood Highsmith. Tonight against the Nets, Caleb Martin scheduled to come back. All of a sudden, you say to yourself, there's 4 or 5 players who absolutely know their roles. In no game does Duncan Robinson, Haywood Highsmith, Caleb Martin, Jaime Jaquez, Josh Richardson go into the game, Kevin Love, and saying, I'm going to be the man. That's a great thing to also have. That guys who are willing to support, because it's a sport or a world about egos. The Heat have enough egoless in Caleb Martin, in Haywood Highsmith, that they find those players. We were worried about losing Gabe Vincent. We were concerned about losing Max Strus. The Heat just keep grinding them out, don't they? Jaime is Max Strus.
Yes.
You find the next guy. You do that. That's what
I wasn't worried about replacing their points. Remember, I was only worried about ball handling. That's the only thing I was really worried about. I figured the way this coaching staff is, and I'm expecting Highsmith to take that next step, and it's already in the process.
Sure.
And Jaquez he's the shit, dude. He's the shit. You can tell he's the shit, man. He can play, bro. He's a really smart kid and fearless of any moment, too, on top of all of that. When he took on LeBron the other day, what's he saying now? Oh, yeah, we owe the Nets. I like that. This kid
Yes.
plays with an edge,
He's a
and
mature,
yeah.
polished rookie. You don't get that very often.
And eventually we'll see something from Jokic. I know it, but he's still a baby. He's still green.
Yes.
He's still growing. He's got to mature. So that's fine. But at the moment, they don't need him. That's the beauty of hitting on Jokic, is that and then hitting on Highsmith, by the way, finding another
Right.
guy overall. And let me tell you something. You put Jaquez and Highsmith and Bam and Butler and Caleb out there at the end of a game to stop a shot.
Even
You,
Richardson, yeah. They have
you
so
can
many
put out
options.
an all nasty 5 defenders out there in the end of a game to just okay, you don't have to put out Drew or Lowry, even though they're Lowry's a decent defender in his own right, but you can put those 5 guys out there. I was talking about this yesterday on Twitter, and if you just want to okay, this is our best unit out there to go stop somebody, I really like it, man.
Yeah, they
I
can
really
go
like
completely junkyard dog with a Highsmith and a Martin and a Butler and Adebayo, and whether it's Jay Rich or one of the other guys. Yeah, you could put a junkyard dog 5 out there. The concern has been and will be scoring on this team. Again, you got to the NBA Finals, scored over 96 points just once. So again, if Bam, and Tyler can all score at a high average while playing together, you have it solved. That's what Pat Riley's asking for. That's what we wait for.
And what I think is also going to help this year compared to last year is I think you're going to be a better defensive team this year than you were last year. And so that I think that will maybe offset a little bit of the fact that you don't have a ton of firepower from the 3-point range. You have a couple of guys, but you don't have a ton of them. And so you're going to have to offset that somehow. And I think you have more stoppers now maybe on the court at this point.
Yeah. It's going to be a different game. It's going to be typical Heat ugly because that's who they are. Jimmy plays an ugly game.
Yeah.
But again, they have the pieces right now. I probably look at only Boston as being ahead of the curve to that degree. Milwaukee's regressed with their defense, not very good. Philly has shown they're still figuring they're getting their legs after the Harden trade. I think, when you look at the Knicks and you look at the Cavaliers, they're just teams. And the one thing about the Heat is you have a Spoelstra to make a difference, whether it's a playoff series or late in the season in the standings. Again, Big O. 12 of the first 17 for the Heat are on the road. It ends after the upcoming road trip when they play in Brooklyn. Then it's house money. If you even wind up 500 during this trip, if you even wind up 8 and 9 at the start of the season, you have all those home games. You have plenty of time to make things up. And you know what? The 10-day reevaluation from Tyler out of the walking boot, that comes by Friday or Saturday. So there might even be more good news in the short run.
Yeah. No, and listen, you mentioning on just to follow up on the Milwaukee thing, as much as I want the Damian Lillard thing to happen here, the main reason why I wanted it is because Jimmy needed that other guy to take the load off of him. But I also knew that Damian Lillard wasn't going to be a great defender.
No,
And
he
so
isn't. He can't be.
when they traded Drew Holiday off that team and you added Lillard, you hurt your perimeter defense in the process. Now, you did bring in a killer offensive player that is
Correct.
ice in his veins in the key moments, which that's the reason why I wanted him here because
No,
he's
even Wednesday night, Lillard scored 35, assisted on 35 points. 70 of the game's points against Toronto, albeit they're sort of up and down right now, shows you what he can do. I think what happened to the Bucks was after what Jimmy did to Drew Holiday in that playoff series, I think the Bucks realized, hey, Drew's not the be-all, end-all. We have to go in a different direction. If Milwaukee doesn't make this work with Lillard, you can make a case that Jimmy Butler broke the Bucks.
Yeah, and I would imagine that behind the scenes, they are. It seems like from what everybody is writing and talking about, they are absolutely giddy with what they see from Jaquez.
Oh, beyond giddy. He's ready. He's good to go. It's like, I almost typed the word rookie before him, but he doesn't feel like a rookie. And Big O, if you had a chance to talk to him, you see his interviews, he's mature. He defers to leadership. He understands that it's Bam's team and Jimmy's team and Tyler when he gets back. He appreciates his place. And I love the wonderment that everything to him is still fun and fascinating. You kind of like that refreshingness in the locker room as well.
Yeah. What are you expecting tonight? Because Brooklyn's missing a few guys.
Yeah, but they're actually missing worser guys, if there's such a word. The last time they came in without Spencer Dinwiddie, without Cameron Johnson, without Nick Claxton, they were a better team than when they came here last time and beat Miami on November 1st. So this has to be payback. This is the second of 3 games against the Nets in a 25-day span. You've got to be better than the Nets. Last season, the Heat had a late season loss to the Nets, wound up in the play-in round. Make your statement against Brooklyn now. You should be able to beat this team. It's your only home game in 10. You've got to get it done. Hey, and then you get to go back on the road against the dysfunctional Bulls.
And by the way, this should become a drug for you. You looked at yourself, you were 1-4, now you're 7-4.
Yes.
You're climbing the standings. You should see this, right? I'm so proud of the Heat and the Panthers because you don't want to do this shit again where you dig yourself in a hole and then you got to climb out of the bottom of the playoffs and, come on, man, let's go and build that record up. Give yourself a chance.
And same thing about the Panthers. You could look at the Panthers the other day and go, oh my God, San Jose is awful. Why was it that tough of a game? The Heat can go, oh my God, Charlotte is awful. Why is that tough of a game? But again, to wrap this whole thing up in our accurate Pembroke Pines report, you got the W. That's all people are going to remember.
That's it. That's all that matters. What do you got going on in the Sun Sentinel? So folks,
I wrote the story that everyone wants. I wrote about Jaime Jaquez. He said he's learned to be a 6-man. He's taking in the game. He knows when he comes in, he has to change things. Then he knows when he plays with Jimmy and Bam late, he has to defer, make cuts. He's done that. And I wrote just now about the supporting cast. Guys like Duncan Robinson and Haywood Highsmith are getting together, realizing we're all for 1 and 1 for 2 right now and taking care of the 2 leading men. Did a thing also about what the Heat did in Overtown yesterday. Great thing. The turkey giveaway. Cool. Like they had to do Thanksgiving a week early because they're just not here. And what the Arisons are doing at halftime tonight for feeding Miami, making their donation on Give Miami Day. So you know what? It's a good time. You get home only for 1 day. They're taking care of the community before they head out in the cold.
Yeah, that was cool. Even Riley was there for the whole thing. That was awesome. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel and doing his thing here with the Acura Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat, and NBA report. Ira, as always, thank you. Enjoy the game tonight.
Catch you Monday. Hopefully the schedule works then. Thanks, Big O.
You got it, man. No problem. We're flexible. That is Ira Winderman. Get on down to 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 and Pines, and tell them that Big O sent you, Larry Schlossberg and the boys. They will take care of you at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.